We're live with JT DeBolt. Hey, it's Joy from jakeandjoy.com, and we are so excited for our guest, JT DeBolt, who is a self-described mission accomplishment specialist, and he's going to tell us all about it today. But first, we want to know where you're jumping on from if you're joining us live, and if you're joining us as a replay, you can just write replay in the comments section. We're so happy to have you. Every Thursday, we bring a special guest who's got mad tips and tricks to give you so that you can have the unstoppable life that you love. And Jake, where can people see us besides Facebook?
Everywhere. We're all over. So we are on Instagram. Our handle is Jake and Joy Kelly, and you can see my mom's Insta story attempts that are getting really good. If you haven't seen them before, you're lucky. She's great at them now. She's great now. And we are also on Twitter. Our handle is Jake and Joy, and you can also check out our website, jakeandjoy.com, and you can hop into our email subscription list.
Awesome. Great. Well, thanks everybody for joining us today, wherever you're listening to us from. We are so happy to have on our feature today, Mr. JT DeBolt. I'm going to tell you a little bit about him. Jake and I were lucky enough to meet him. What was it, JT, about 18 months ago?
Yeah, I think that's all right.
Yeah. It was 12 months ago, because it was right before our company's big conference. We met you in Chicago, and then we went to our company conference, and our minds were pretty much blown. So that's, I remember that.
Oh, right on.
So let me tell you guys a little bit about JT. JT DeBolt is a combat decorated naval aviator turned entrepreneur and business mentor. JT's passion helping entrepreneurs to develop into the best leaders they can be in business and in life. And this is so true. Jake and I got to see this up close and personal. It was awesome. But JT, I know that you, as a youngster, were really driven. You wanted to become a pilot. And it was a big story. And so I'd love to hear, like, what got you interested in that? And then, like, I know you had some struggles to get through that. And then what had you become an entrepreneur after that? I mean, that's like crazy.
Yeah, they're pretty disconnected, pretty disjointed careers. Actually, it's kind of interesting because there's a lot you can learn from both sides that are very applicable. And I often tell this to folks who are, especially if I'm working with entrepreneurs and they're kind of interested in the aviation background, you can learn a lot and actually teach a lot of kind of, I guess, aviation analogies to help people understand the business end of it. Because sometimes business can be a little bit abstract, can it not? You know, you kind of have to start thinking differently, especially if you're coming from, working for somebody else and now you're trying to build your own business. But yeah, ever since I was probably, I think I was about 8 years old when I might have even been younger than that. When I really got the bug to fly, I just remember being about 8 and having it very clear in my head. My two big heroes in my life were my granddad and my stepmom. And my granddad was a bomber pilot in World War II. So he's my dad's dad. He was a bomber pilot in World War II. My mom's dad, my other granddad, was actually on Pearl Harbor. He's in the United States Navy on December 7th, 1941, when it was attacked. So he was actually not just a survivor, but a combatant on Pearl Harbor. So I had these two pretty awesome dudes that were instrumental in my life. And I just remember, like, after Thanksgiving dinners or whatever it was, my grandpa would tell these stories about Pearl Harbor. And then I saw my dad's dad, the one that was the bomber pilot. I knew him more. I was closer to him in my life because he lived closer to us. And that's where I got the aviation bug. So I kind of put the two of them together and thought, man, it'd be really cool to be out at sea and, fly airplanes. And so found out the Navy had pilots and got really, really connected to it via the Blue Angels. Always wanted to be a Blue Angel. That was my big dream. I just, to this day, I get super inspired when I see the Blues. And yeah, so that was my dream. The challenge was I was a lousy student. I was diagnosed with ADD way back in the day before they kind of understood what it was. And I think just a lot of folks in my life that were close to me, teachers, coaches, friends, family members, more out of concern and love, just said, that's never going to work out for you. It wasn't that they were trying to squash me down, but when you're a kid, you don't necessarily know the difference, right? So they were like, hey, dude, you lack the scholastic aptitude, the mental skill sets to be able to get into college, let alone graduate college, go off and do something as academically and physically, mentally taxing as flying airplanes. So, I grew up with the stigma that I wasn't going to make it, but I had an internal drive. There was something I wish I could tell you guys what it was. In fact, what I wish even more is that I could bottle it up and mass produce it and give it away. Because if people could find that kind of thing that they want to do with their life that early, you know, I think it would solve a lot of problems in the world. But for me, the challenge was, you know, kind of butting up against this thing that people kept saying, hey, you're never going to make it. You know, even the Navy turned me down 6 different times. So, you know, I put the applications in for flight training 6 different times. They kept turning me down until finally I got out of the Navy, worked some lousy jobs, you know, working as a dishwasher and a busboy. Not that those are lousy jobs, but it was just, you know, hard work. And it wasn't exactly in alignment with what I wanted to do. I worked in a car, you know, repair shop, changing oil, rotating tires, doing all that kind of stuff. I even worked construction, digging ditches. No joke, actually digging ditches, because I was like, dude, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make it happen. Got into a community college because that's the best I could do. You know, I just did not have the academic background to get into a major 4-year university, and busted my tail for about a semester. And then I applied to the University of Colorado, which was a big deal. Got accepted, went into their ROTC program, ended up graduating #1 in my class in ROTC, got accepted to flight school, went off to flight school, actually graduated flight training. So, you know, that's kind of it in a nutshell. But
that's a pretty impressive story. That's yeah.
I appreciate that. Yeah, and it was cool because, you know, it gave me sort of a pathway into entrepreneurship that I did not see coming. And I was able to help people kind of learn through my trials and errors and some of the lessons I got through that path. So.
Very cool. Well, Jake has some questions for you. The intrepid reporter.
All right, fire away. Bring it on. Let's do this.
So, okay, so the first one is, at our first seminar, when we heard you speak, you talked a lot about discipline. And I had heard that word a million times, you know, being an athlete myself. But the way that you talked about it and explained it was like eye-opening to me. I was like, I need to get that tattooed on my body. Like, I was like this. I like had a total mind-blowing experience hearing you talk about discipline. So can you talk a little bit about this, like real discipline?
Yeah, I wish I could remember what I said that made you want to get a tattoo. But I will say this, just sort of like my default setting for discipline is, I find it to be the most powerful force that anybody in their life can have. You can have it in your life, even if you consider, you know, people out there considering themselves not well disciplined. Discipline is like leadership. It's a muscle that you can develop. I personally don't believe, and this is my humble opinion, that I don't believe anybody's a born leader. I find that people take to it much faster, just like there's not a lot of, I mean, you might have natural born athletes, but the folks that really work really hard at sports, like you did, Jake, you know, they become the all-state shooters, you know, the best shooters in basketball, not because they were born that way. They may have had some, like, you may have had some natural athletic ability, but you busted your butt to make it happen. Right. Same thing goes with leadership, and absolutely the same thing goes with discipline. So the way I like to think of discipline is, it's just that internal force that we all have that we can develop inside of ourselves, we can strengthen, that keeps you on the path to your purpose. Keeps you on the path to your purpose. Now, this is a big deal because I think a lot of times folks go, well, I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know what my life purpose is. And they get stalled out. They get gapped out, thinking, well, until I'll park this, because it's a big thing. It's this big sort of like hill, that a mountain I have to climb. That someday I'll figure out what my purpose is. But until I figure out what my purpose is, I'm not going to get going. Here's the reality. You don't necessarily have to know what your overall life purpose is, but you have to know what the purpose behind what you're doing is. And if you have a strong purpose or an intention behind what you do, then the discipline piece is what actually keeps you on track. Case in point, you know, staying healthy, staying fit. You guys have your awesome cooking show. People go, you know, your purpose is to help people understand how to live a healthier life, right? Your discipline is you show up to it, you do the videos, you do the hard work, you do the research, you make it happen, you grow your fan base. And it's not because you guys are wired so much differently than anybody else. There is certainly, you know, something there, but it's because you have a strong purpose behind what it is you're doing. You know, every single day that when you go to work, you get up there and you go to do your thing, whether it's building your team or building your cooking show. It's not about just for the sake of putting on a video, right? There's a lot of intention behind what you guys do. So the key relationship here that I want everybody to kind of get is that you can become disciplined. And if you're disciplined, you can stay disciplined by remembering that one thing. And that's the purpose behind what it is you're doing every single day. So going to the gym, I can tell you this, probably 98% of the time I go to the gym, I don't freaking feel like it. 98% of the time when I go to the gym, the timing is terrible. It's absolutely the worst time of day. Sometimes I have to wedge a workout in between a call or, you know, some other kind of appointment that I have in my business. But I show up to the thing, and frankly, there are days on a scale of 1 to 10, I give a level 6. You know, I give 60% of what I got. But damn it, it's better than giving 0. And that's the difference. When people want to develop discipline in their life, it's about understanding the purpose behind what they are doing. If you're building a business, what's the purpose? If you're going to the gym, what's the purpose? If you're eating healthy, if you're going to start eating, you know, arugula salad, by the way, I had to watch the video because arugula is one of my favorite things. I saw you guys do an episode on arugula pear salad. I was like, oh God, here we go. You got to have a strong purpose behind, you know, everything you do. And if you want to stay disciplined, whether it's losing weight, staying healthy, being in an awesome relationship, building a mega business, whatever that thing is, it starts with purpose.
Cool. Awesome. Really awesome. Yeah. I think for a lot of people that they feel like discipline is like, if I don't give everything I have every single day, then that's not the thing. And maybe people feel like they can't do that. It's like, I can't give everything I have. So then it's like, well, maybe why should I even try if I can't give it everything I have? So that's really cool.
Absolutely. And you said it, Jake. That's exactly right. You know, this concept that you have to give 100% all the time, you know, go, hustle your face off, is complete and utter crap. And it's unfortunately probably destroyed more dreams than it has helped. I would prefer, like, for me, the discipline is, I don't feel good today. I don't feel like doing this at all, but I'm going to show up. I'm going to do what I can. If all I can do is 10 push-ups and that's the best workout I got, it's better than 0. If all I can do is write the headline to my email, or, you know, write the first bullet points to a webinar, or, hey, I'm just going to, instead of eating those potato chips, I'm just going to eat this 1 carrot. Is that really going to change your life? Not necessarily. But that decision that you make, that behavior that you make in that moment of being not at 100%, which frankly, most people are at 90% of the time, you're going to be less than 100%. That is a demonstration of the discipline. That's a demonstration of your character. And that's the thing to really focus on.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. So my second question is, you also talked a lot, you do a lot, talk about the difference between motivation and inspiration and the roles that they play in business. And that was also eye-opening for us as well. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, for sure. So the way I like to think of it is this: think in terms of time span. Inspiration is very kind of in the moment, right? It's very instantaneous. Inspiration is something that, kind of pulls from within you, but you see it, it's an external thing. So for instance, you can be super inspired. What's something that you guys see that inspires you? I'm just curious. Jake, what's something that you get inspired by?
The first thing that comes to my mind is that video of that military guy talking about making your bed, that college speech. I don't remember who it was or what, but that was my first thought. I got so fired up by that video. I was like, it changed my life.
Yeah.
In that moment, I made my bed for like a week, and then I didn't do it after that.
Well, see, okay, so that's a great example. So Admiral McRaven, U.S. Navy SEAL, retired, gave a commencement speech to the University of Texas. He graduated from Texas, and he gave the commencement speech, and that's what you're referring to. And he talks about I think it's the 10 lessons he learned from going through SEAL training, and one of which is make your bed. And I'll leave that. You guys go out. If you haven't seen the video, go check it out. It's pretty awesome. What Jake just described is seeing something from outside of herself, external to herself, and going, holy crap, that totally is awesome. And it instilled in her a behavior, even if it only lasted a week, that was a change. It was something that was different than the way she was operating and behaving prior to seeing that, or prior to experiencing it. So you got to find the inspiration, the stuff that fires you up. It could be music, it could be art, it could be something that you observe. For me, I get super inspired by watching sports. And it is absolutely not an excuse to sit on my butt on the couch and watch constant sports. But, I'll watch anything from the NCAA tournament to football to lacrosse to wrestling. It doesn't necessarily matter what the sport is. I love to see people rise above their circumstances. I love to see people dig down deep. Now, I personally prefer a team sport because it's amazing to watch one individual behave in a certain way and watch the collective group feed off of that. That is inspiration in a complete, the most obvious illustration you're going to see. So inspiration, something you see from outside. Now, what's the motivation? Motivation is, think of it, you probably heard the old term, it's the motive for action. Motivation, it seems to be the breakdown of that word. And frankly, I'm not clear what the etymology of the word is, but I can tell you this. The motivation is I like to think of it like the motor, the motor inside of you. Now, sometimes, like we just talked about, I don't necessarily feel motivated to go to the gym. Very rarely do I feel motivated to get to the gym. So I had to rely on my discipline to keep me on track. So the inspiration is more instantaneous. It's in the moment. Motivation is more of the kind of midterm or moderate level stuff. It's the stuff that happens over time. But the discipline is the thing that is the deciding factor. It's the thing that stays with you the longest. So if you have all three of those in your life, you can have the inspiration. You can go, you know what? A little low energy. I'm going to pop in my earbuds. I'm going to listen to my music. I'm going to get after it. The motivation is the thing that got you going and is going to keep you moving. So if you say to yourself, hey, I'm super inspired because I saw this Navy SEAL talk about making my bed, you go in the moment and make your bed. What's going to keep you motivated is saying, hey, that felt pretty awesome. My bed's made. I followed through. I did what a Navy SEAL does. Now, all of a sudden, you kind of have that internal motor, that internal drive that's going. The discipline is the part where you go, what's the purpose of me making the bed? The making the bed part is and then you got to fill in the blank for whatever that means. Mm-hmm. So whether it's business, whether it's health, whether it's relationships, doesn't matter. If you want to live a high performance life, you got to have all three of those. And specifically in business, the role of inspiration and motivation is this. Find the thing. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't have to be business related. Find the thing or the person that inspires you. Could be, Richard Branson, could be Oprah Winfrey, could be Sarah Blakely. Somebody, it could be just watching, a highlight reel of athletes and go, man, if they can do it, I can do it. Whatever fires you up, that's your inspiration. The motivation is, okay, my motivation is I'm going to build the biggest business I can. I'm going to build the most effective business I can. I'm going to inspire people. I'm going to give them a platform to change their lives. Whatever your motivational force is, but attach it to the purpose. What is the purpose? What does this whole thing mean? And that's where that inspiration and motivation collide. And that's where they can actually be an effective force for you.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Awesome. And I was going to ask you about the importance of perseverance, but I feel like you really covered it with discipline and motivation and inspiration. So is there anything else you want to say about perseverance?
Yeah, just real super quick on perseverance. I think people feel like, well, perseverance is only for people who are really strong. Perseverance is only for people who really have their backs against the wall. Perseverance, honestly, is an opportunity. If you just don't feel like doing something, as opposed to feeling bad about yourself, as opposed to judging yourself. Some people do this with procrastination. They find themselves procrastinating and they start beating themselves up. They go into this self-judgment. Oh, I'm lazy. I'm this, I'm that. I'm not smart enough. That's not true. Actually, procrastination is not a laziness. It's far from it. And it's not a productivity thing. Oftentimes what it is we haven't really come to grips with the kind of emotional turmoil that's going inside. Like maybe the thing you do is painful. Maybe the thing that you're about to do is boring, and that's okay. The difference is persevering through it is looking at it and going, hey, this is awesome. I don't feel like doing this. I really don't feel like doing the workout. I don't feel like writing the email. I don't feel like, reaching out to my list that I haven't spoken to in 18 months. But I'm going to see this as an opportunity. I'm just going to lean into this and see what happens, and give yourself some freaking credit when you do it. See perseverance is really just an opportunity. It's that opportunity to step into something you don't feel like doing, pushing through it, just to use yourself as that personal kind of laboratory. Just see what happens. And you'll find that a perseverance becomes a behavior, becomes a habit pattern. Pretty soon you push through a lot of stuff that normally in the past you would have said no to.
Did you just say habit pattern? Is that a thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. I love it. A habit pattern.
Yeah.
I love it. Cool. And then my last question before we go into our two that we ask everyone is, I've seen you be so disciplined with your workouts and your burpees in your hotel room and stuff. So obviously, staying healthy is important. Can you talk about that? Like what role that's played for you in being an entrepreneur as well as an elite pilot?
Yeah. So health for us was, especially in the cockpit, a mandatory thing. You had to stay healthy. The military specifically has height and weight standards. So you had to stay within you couldn't allow yourself to just get super out of shape and super unhealthy. You do regular medical checkups, I think once a quarter, I can't remember, at least once a year. And they checked everything, your eyes, your hearing, your blood test, your blood work and all that kind of stuff. And the whole idea was you had to be at a top performing level, especially under, extremely demanding environments as military aviation is. In business, I would say it's on par, maybe even higher at times. The stress level, it's such a dynamic environment. You're in problem solving mode 24/7. For those people who own businesses, you know what I'm talking about. You're probably shaking your heads right now going, yeah, I get you. Because you're constantly, it's not like you just show up, push a button and then all of a sudden this money comes flying out of your computer. It just doesn't work that way. So you have to be able to roll with it. You have to be able to stay disciplined, stay connected to your health. And I will tell you, this happened recently, Jake. It was about 3 months ago. It was right towards the turn of the new year. I got super unhealthy. And I know it's easy to go, oh, of course, the holidays came along, you probably overindulged. There was some truth to that. But I had gotten so physically beat down, so tired from a lot of travel in my business, from a lot of just doing stuff, and had compromised a few of the simple, really basic stuff, like just eating healthy, just, saying no to the burgers and fries and saying yes to the salads and things like that. Simple little things. And then having the idea like, hey, I'm super strong, I'm super disciplined, I'll just burpee my way through this, right? I'll force my way, I'll just grunt my way through this. Well, pretty soon, my body basically said, wrong answer, dude. You're taking a downer. And I just got super tired, super, just real lethargic. Gratefully for, it was during the holidays, so my travel schedule was slower, but I found myself gaining weight. I found myself not recovering well from the gym at all. In fact, I was getting injuries that I hadn't normally gotten. And frankly, I was losing a real passion for the stuff that had always fired me up, like staying healthy and doing the burpees and things like that. Mm-hmm. And so I had to take a step back and recognize, okay, cool. My health is non-negotiable. If I want to be a top performing leader, people count on us as business leaders. There are people counting on you right now, no matter what business you're in. Doesn't matter whether you're in network marketing, whether you're running a corporation, whether you think of yourself almost like a professional athlete. And that's the attitude that I had to take. Again, going back to discipline in the sense of purpose. The purpose for staying healthy was I kind of see myself as a professional athlete, meaning professional athletes get paid to move their body. I get paid to be high energy. I get paid to be focused, mentally clear. I get paid to, show up and be able to deliver the best stuff I know how to deliver. And if I'm sick, if I'm overweight, if I'm tired, if I'm injured, if I'm sitting on the couch with a ice pack on my knee and one on my ankle, that's pretty hard for me to stand up and speak on stage. It's pretty hard for me to get on an airplane and be able to facilitate a workshop. Mm-hmm. So pretty soon I started to realize, hey, your health is the single most important thing. It's more important. Listen, I'm going to go out on a limb. It's even more important than your family. Not like where it eclipses your family, but you got to think of your health and your family being kind of like this, because if you're sick, you can't be there for other people. And so, I think it's awesome what you guys do. A big part of your focus and your vision is to help people live healthier lives. And that's as important as anything. That's the reason where even if we stay out late, I will still get up and pound out those freaking burpees in my hotel room, because I know the day I start to let go, the day I start to scale back is where I start showing up and, feeling pretty bad and not being able to operate at my best.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah.
Awesome stuff, JT. I just wrote a blog about that today, actually, about moms, like thinking that they're like sacrificing for their family because they're not taking care of their health, when in truth, like it is above family, because if they don't, it's just like on the airplane. You got to put your own air mask on first. And if moms aren't taking care of themselves, they can't take care of their kids. If dads don't take care of themselves first, they can't take care of their family. So just so key. We are so grateful that you're on here today, JT. And, we ask everybody that comes on here, but especially for you, because you came from this military background. And for a lot of military people, they might get out and then go into the private sector, CEO of this company or that company. But you went out and became a friggin' entrepreneur. Like you built it up from the ground. Yeah. What is the one piece of advice that you could give anybody starting any business, whether it's network marketing or brick and mortar building? What's the one piece of advice that you could give anybody starting business today?
I got to say, it's, one piece of advice. Here's the thing. Probably, again, going back to my aviation background, we always had a strong intention for what we were doing. You have to be super intentional with your business. You also have to be super patient. probably the thing, if I could go back in time and tell my younger self 13, 14 years ago when we first started our first business, hey, what's one piece of advice I'd give that dude is you're going to have to be patient. And not just patient with the process, patient with time, patient with that. You got to be patient with yourself. I was super hard on myself early on. And I can tell you, if anybody out there watching right now has a habit pattern, a behavior pattern of being hard on themselves, beating themselves down, you are absolutely only prolonging the pain, and you are delaying your own success. Get into the habit pattern of being patient with the process and being patient with yourself. And then the last thing is just being acceptant of kind of what is. And this is not a fuzzy woo-woo type of thing. I'm not talking about being passive, putting your hands up and just laying back on the couch and going, well, nothing I can do about it. What I mean by that is saying, okay, cool. We put the ad out, or we made the sales offer. We did whatever it is, and it didn't work. Cool. It didn't work. Now what might we have to do differently? What did we learn from that? How can we improve? What can we tweak? And what might we have to do in order to adjust and get better? So it's that being intentional, it's being patient, and being acceptant. IPA. And yes, that was very intentional.
That was awesome.
Jake and Joy know I love IPAs. But honestly, God, it's just about that. You got to be super, like, there are times where you just have to accept it. Accept yourself and be like, cool. And if you have that level of enthusiasm for business and for life, you will turn things around so fast. And I wish I'd have known that back in the day when we first started. We'd probably be, at a whole different level than we are now, or we would have at least gotten a level we're at now sooner. But that would be my piece of advice for folks starting out in business.
Cool. And then the last question we like to ask everybody who comes on to our show, we like to put them on the spot and ask them what their favorite cooking show is.
Oh, come on. That's a slam dunk. It's Cook with Jake and Joy. Are you kidding?
Duh.
Duh. Literally,
Thanks,
I was up here in my office laughing last night. I was watching you guys, and my son, who's 10 years old, comes in. He goes, hey, are those sisters? I joke you not. I kid you. He's literally said that. He's like, are those two sisters? I'm like, no, but I'm going to tell him you said that. He's like, don't tell him I said that.
The camera is amazing what it can do,
I don't know about that. Come on, Joy. You don't give yourself enough credit. Yeah.
Thanks.
Hey, awesome.
If you guys like this kind of information, we got started with JT because we got involved with something called Attraction Marketing Formula. And Jake's going to post a link to that in our comment section. That's a place that you might want to start, that you might want to start to look at. Could I take my business online? Could I make this be bigger? And what we learned from being involved with this organization, Elite Marketing Pro, is not just like techniques, not just ways to run ads, et cetera, but we learned the kind of stuff that JT just shared with you. We spent a weekend with him in Chicago. We spent a weekend with him in LA, and we're going to spend another weekend with him, I hope, in April. Yes. And then in June. So this is the kind of valuable information that we got because we said yes to this organization. And you can get started with a little $27 investment. Jake's going to post the link down below. And we hope that you'll take advantage of it. And we also hope that you'll tune in to our many platforms because we offer different stuff on all of them, I think. Don't we, Jake?
We do.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
That's all I've got for today. Anybody have anything else they want to add?
JT, you said people can follow you on Facebook. What's the link for you? I will post it as well, but maybe you can tell people how they can follow you.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. I appreciate that. Facebook.com, flywithjt, I guess there's a / in there. Flywithjt.
Cool.
We'll post it in the comments section. But yeah, JT's got lots of great stuff. So you want to follow him and he's got a lot to teach. I mean, we've been listening to him now for over a year, and every time, when I was doing this, I was like, I got to take down some notes.
Awesome. Hey, you know what? Here's the cool part. I learn a lot from you guys, so I appreciate you guys jumping out here, sharing your wealth and knowledge and sharing your wisdom. It's a lot of fun to learn from you as well.
Awesome.
Thanks, JT. Hey, we'll see you guys again. We're Joy and Jake from jakeandjoy.com. Have a great rest of your day.
Bye.
Bye.